Hello YouTube, this is Matt Pullen, and this is a chess endgame study that I found perusing a website called chessproblems.com. Is a website where people upload chess puzzles, endgame studies, combinations, etc., and people play through them and vote on them. So I don't know who actually composed this study here, but I thought it was neat because it has a solution that is very atypical of most king and pawn endgames. So is white to play and draw. The white pawns are fractured, and there's no way for white to create a breakthrough or a passed pawn. The black king is much more active than white's king. In fact, the key square of the pawn on e4, which is isolated, is h4, and the black king is going to reach there with no problem. So if white plays normally, like say king e2, then king g5, king f3, king h4, now what we see is impossible for white to take the opposition because of the black pawn. So white has to give ground, say king f2, king g4, king e3, king g3, and now simply black is going to outflank white. So king e2, king f4, king d3, king f3, and white will lose the pawn on e4. So this is a very difficult problem. I put this through Ribka, the computer engine, and it thinks that is just dead lost for white, but after 10 seconds it found the correct first move. The first move and the second move are very difficult to find, but once you see that idea, is actually quite an easy chore to draw this game. But in king and pawn endgames, when you think of playing to draw the game, usually that involves taking the opposition, or it involves creating a counterattack. But here, white does neither. The correct first move is c5. And here is threatening to solve all of white's problems by trading pawns, uncrippling the white structure. For instance, if black plays king f6, this is going to be a draw. For instance, pawn takes pawn, king e6, and now it's white's king that outflanks black on the king side. So king f3, king c5, king g4, king d4, king f5. And this looks like a trebuchet situation, a situation of mutual Zugzwang, which is the side to move has to lose the center pawn and the game. But no, white can actually give up his e4 pawn and come with the counterattack on b7. For instance, if black plays c5, then after king e6, king takes e4, king d6, king d4, king c7, white will queen the b pawn, e4, king takes b7, e3, and is probably just king takes a6 and b7 followed by b8 queen. It should be an easy draw. Both sides will get queens. So that is what happens if black allows white to take on d6. d5 would just be a losing blunder because of pawn takes c6, and white will break through. So after c5, black is pretty much obliged to take this. And now comes the key, pawn to c4. This fixes the black pawn structure, but is still not clear what white's idea is, because he does not have the possibility of creating a passed pawn, and the black king is still going to reach the key square and outflank the white king. but white can actually give up his e4 pawn. After king g5, king c2, king f4, king b3, where is white going? King takes e4, king a4, king d3, king a5. And now we see the violence inherent in the system. White is actually going to stalemate himself with pawn to a4, a move which cannot be undone. And after pawn to a4, the black pawns, which are fixed, take away all the squares from the white king. So it doesn't matter what black does here. He can take on c4, he can push e4. After a4, the next move is going to be stalemate. Again, the white king is blocked in by the pawns and has no moves with the king. So even though black was not active in the stalemating process, because of the pawn move, pawn to a4 cannot be undone, white was able to stalemate himself, which is a very rare tactic. Usually when you see white to play and draw, you're not thinking of stalemate, but that is self-stalemate. It is another way to draw the game. Well, I hope you found that this was a fun and interesting problem. Maybe you can show your friends and see if they can figure out how white plays to draw this position. And the key, of course, is to play c5, and then after takes, c4, and followed by marching the king up to a5 and advancing the pawn to a4 for stalemate. Well, is a peculiar problem. Hope you enjoyed, and talk to you next time.